Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Live from Park City, Utah. Wow. We just came back from a concert from this Jewish festival, literally down the block. And I met a bunch of these Gewaldige Bachrim. I'm going to show you a picture of them soon. And they all, I didn't even talk to them about the daf. They all decided to come learn a little Torah. Why not? Ben Azman and learn a little Torah. You know what? I'm going to turn the video around real quickly. You could all wave nicely. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. Lower it. Oh, look at it's a nice crowd. Nice crowd. See that? Wow. Unbelievable. We also have some kids here. The father, see, I don't know if I could get to them. Here they are on the couch. Very good. Okay. This is Utah. Everything goes. Where do you live? You live like 40 minutes away? Where did you say?
40, 50 minutes, yeah.
What's your name again?
Ben Sion Glicksman.
Ben Sion Glicksman, 40 minutes away. Where is it?
In Layton. I'm the one that runs the What's Up U.S. Military Chevra.
Oh, the U.S. Military Chevra. Shalom Aleichem. Wow.
Air Force.
In the Air Force. And what school do your kids go to? You go to Salt Lake?
No, they're homeschooled.
Homeschooled.
Yeah, they do online. And now,
wow.
Now we're actually moving to Dallas.
Wow. Okay. Finally, the kids are probably very excited. No.
Yeah.
So you're gonna help out the Dallas Chevra over there. We got to get something going over there. Big. They have already something. They have a whole group, and I got to tell you, I'm going to show you in a second. First of all, breakfast is sponsored because right now Shir is taking place in about 40 minutes in Eretz Yisrael. So we're recording now. It's going to just show in the Beis Medrash in Eretz Yisrael in about 40 minutes. And breakfast in the Beis Medrash is sponsored by Yitz Moshe and Nachum Katz in appreciation to Moshe Einhorn for arranging breakfast over the past year. Camera's too high still? Okay, we'll lower it. Lower. Okay. How about now, Mark? What else do we have here? So I just wanted to show you, everybody in America as well, that approximately once a week, even more, we add another live location in Eretz Yisrael. And hopefully, Be'ezer Hashem in America, they're trying here or there. This is a live location, 9 o'clock, Israel, at night. The shir's in Hebrew. And this is Malei Amos. So here's the entire list. 16 locations. We have over 500 people live every single day watching the shir in different locations. You have Bnei Brak, Yerushalayim, Rechasim, Telstone, etc., etc. This is a guy says that Rabbi Yankiv Landau, he was very old. He was at a wedding or something. He was very, very thirsty. So they brought him a bottle to drink from. And they couldn't find the cup, so he refused to drink from the bottle. And he says a Rav shouldn't be drinking from a bottle; he should be drinking from a cup. Lahavdil, I saw you. Oh no, I saw Mordechai and David. He asked for some water, so somebody gave him a bottle. He wouldn't drink from it. So b'mechila 1,000 times, I wanted to make a ara l'chvayd merenu that you drink from a bottle sometimes. Dave Hirsch. So I have no idea what this guy's talking about. I have a cup here, but if a person goes out of his way to, like, he has nothing better to do in his life, just to give an artist on the way people drink. I was probably in Florida or something on the road, and there's no cup, and I drank. Okay, whatever. But it covered. Oh, we have more guys. Givaldi, come sit. There's chairs in that closet. We should have chairs in the closet. We'll have to get you in the video soon. He says, I'm dealing with Jersey on vacation. My wife, Rabbi, I got to tell you, it's unbelievable. First of all, in the Floyd Habayra here in Utah, Park City, the whole thing, you guys are going to see, probably going to, where are you going? Zion. Where else? Bryce. There's another one. Somebody just telling me one of the nicest arches, but even better, I'll tell you later. I wrote it down. Something, the Floyd Habayra. But I'll explain to you now because we have a lot of Bachram here. What's this thing about Daf Yomi? Like, what's the whole hack about Daf Yomi? So I learned Biyun my whole life. I was in Kyle for 6 years. Daf Yomi is exactly for Ben Azmanim. It's for Ben Azmanim. It's for how many of you guys, seriously, how many of you guys learned Motzei Tisha B'Av? Did anybody here learn after the fast? Seriously. Yeah, how long? 2 hours? Psh. So you have about 3-4 guys here. It's very impressive. It's a lot. 3-4 guys. Most people do not learn Matzah Tisha B'Av. I wouldn't learn Matzah Tisha B'Av. Your head hurts and you don't want to learn. The beauty of Daf Yomi is the consistency, the Yomi. It's not about the Daf, it's about the Yomi. This program that it's good for Yeshiva Bachram also, I'm telling you. Not to take over a Seder, not to be instead of the Iyun that you learn, but in addition. Just the musagim that you get, every single daf in Shas has new chidushim, new musagim, and a lot of Bachram are taking it on. There's some yeshivas. There's a very chashiv yeshiva now in Bnei Brak that's probably going to put in a screen and they're going to show the shir, the night seder for whoever wants. It's not a stira. And this idea of learning every day, because if you wear tefillin every day, you should be learning Torah every day, because Torah is more important than tefillin. So that a day goes by. I know most of you guys are learning every day in the morning, whatever, you have a seder, but not everybody's like. A lot of, when I was a bacher, it was like a time like, wow, okay, I'm done with this man, and let me relax, enough, let me, a couple of days without any learning. It shouldn't be such a matzav. Even on a Tisha B'Av, even on a Ben Zmanim and a hard trip, we went, I tell this to the Olam a lot, but I'll tell it to you because you're new here. We went on a safari about a month ago, and it was one of these craziest safaris. It's not a normal thing, but it's in the Serengeti, and it's about usually it's 3 hours. You go out for 3 hours, come back to your hotel, and at night you do it again, 3 hours. This, because it's the largest safari in the world, you have to go out sometimes until you see an animal's over 2 hours. So it's not kedai, it's because you go out for 12, 14 hours at a shot. Imagine going on a Jeep the entire time. Your body's like this, the entire time, 14 hours, with not a lot of food. The sun is beating. You come back at night, what do you want to do? You want to eat and go to sleep. The last thing you want to do is open up a sefer and learn. And we got back, everybody's exhausted, and every single person, we sat down, and we learned for an hour. That's the beauty of Daf Yomi. So I'm not saying Chaz v'Shalom. It's not to take away, because you guys are in yeshiva, and of course, Eon, you have to learn how to learn, etc., etc. I'm just saying, don't knock Daf Yomi and understand where the Balabatim are coming from. And one day, if you need it, you know what it's all about. It's about the consistency, because learning 365, not one day a year to take off, not one day. You know what that means? Garnished. The Yom Kippur night, we learn. Erev Pesach, we're learning. Chalamayid, every single day. So, that being said, we go weiter. So he says, he just wanted to know if certain things. Getchkes, I was introduced to the shir in Tainus, Daf Beis, one shir that I've not yet made one scene with the shir yet. So there are a lot of people like that, because he took my advice. I oftentimes miss a daf here and there. I try my best to mark it down, but since Rebelli has his famous skip to the current daf, I've been able to at least get half of Shas. It's unbelievable, this idea of if you miss a daf or 2, 3, you skip ahead. You just skip to where everybody is, you write it down, maybe one day you'll make it up. Do not try to make it up, because that's how you fall. I'm just chazering over these yisaydas for you guys. Some of you guys never heard it. These are the yisaydas of Daf Yomi. I clearly remember Rabbi Yisachar Franz say at this past Sima Shas, don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. I think it was 2 Sima Shas ago. It doesn't matter, but oh no, maybe this one. This one. Don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. People want to be perfect. They want to finish an entire Masechta, and by trying to make things up, they fall behind even more, and then they fall off the bandwagon. Yeshua Parnas, Monsey, New York. This is a group of Bachurim in Eretz Yisrael watching the shir together with kugel and stuff. In Hebrew, it's Erev Tov, Rabbi say, because the shir is in. Okay. It's such a schos and privilege to attend 2 of your South Florida shiurim, one in Hollywood, one in Boca. 250 people showed up in Boca. Unbelievable. I introduced myself to you and said that I look forward to attending shir in RBS. Learning with MDY since the beginning of Sanhedrin. Taking on this daily learning has really changed my life. I'm a retired guy who learns at Koil 4 mornings a week, but until joining MDY, my learning primarily had been Allah and of course Chassidus since I'm a Lebovitcher. Now that I do the daf on a daily basis, my level of commitment and dedication to learning has skyrocketed and is well balanced. I feel the missing piece has been found. My day is not complete until I do the daf. I found a great way to learn it. I go through it one time myself in the morning, then the second time with YouTube. This way, whatever I didn't get the first time, fill in the blanks, my understanding, explanations, diagrams, givaldic. I want to thank you for changing my life. So this is a thing that we hear over and over and over, that the shir changes people's lives. It's not just the Torah, it's the hashkafa, it's everything else in between. And for giving thousands of people the opportunity to participate in this marvelous way to learn Torah, what do you Kaddish Hashem? Anyways, under your leadership, and as Hashem prosper and expand, Mashiach arrives, B'meher B'meinu, Baruch V'atzlacha, continued innovation and growth. Eli Alpert, Delray Beach, Florida. This Rabbi Yisai, somebody sent me because he said this is what I would look like with a beard. I guess it's a picture of me, but my beard is white, so it's not clear. This is in Brazil. Rabbi Yisai, in Brazil, this Rebbe puts up our posters. These are the psukim, these are things right off the shir. All these diagrams, everything from the shir. So he puts it up in his classroom. This is a guy in Montana. This is Mati Belsky in Montana. Check this out. This is Bani Olam. They're doing the charity event, and they're trying to raise $10 million. I hope they did. I hope they did more. So here, the money comes in fast and quick over here. Check this out. They were like 40,000 below 5 million, yeah? Noch a million Rabbi Yisai. And Rabbi Yisai, you're not going to believe this, but check this picture out. This is one of the best of all time. Oh, here it is. It made it into the shir. Okay, Givaldi. And here.
יש לי הפתעה. פגשתי את איציק דליה, אבל זה אמר הכי מבוקש בארצות הברית היום. אחד דבר איתו סתם, אני עושה, מה אתה עושה? אלי סטפנסקי, ברלין, הוא אומר את זה כל יום. אז לפני כמה זמן הוצאתי את האלבום שלי, וקובי סלע הוא היה היחצן של האלבום, ונכנסתי לסטורי שלו, כי דיברנו בוואטסאפ, אז אוטומטית הסטטוס שלו קפץ, ונכנסתי לשיעור. והיה שם כמו פרסומת של דף היומי, נכנסתי לזה, פתאום ראיתי רב מאוד מעניין, לא הכרתי את הרב אלי, לחצתי על הסרטון, וואי, איזה כיף, אני יכול לנהוג ולשמוע שיעור תורה, אני יכול להכין אוכל, לשמוע שיעור תורה, אני יכול ללכת באמצע שאני הולך להופעה, פשוט לשמוע שיעור תורה. פעם ראשונה בחיים, הרב אלי, באמת, עד עכשיו לא למדתי, באמת. פעם ראשונה בחיים שאני מקשיב לשיעור דף היומי כמו שצריך, אני נהנה. כל הכבוד, אתה עושה מצווה ענקית וזכות גדולה, תודה רבה. באמת תודה לך, אתה איש יקר. אני לא מכיר אותך, אבל אני אומר לך, אתה איש יקר, והתמכרתי לרבי ישראל. זה הכי מרגש שאתה אומר שלא למדת עד שהתחלת ללמוד איתו. לא למדתי עד שהתחלתי ללמוד איתו. ואתה יודע, בבית ספר, וזה, אבל מאז שיצאנו לחיים לא היה באמת זמן, ופתאום אני קובע איתי לתורה. שינה לך את החיים. שינה לי את החיים. רב אלי שינה לי את החיים. תודה רבה, איציק.
You know this guy? Vada, yeah? Okay, the Masechta is sponsored by David Salomon. We're going to learn some Torah today, believe it or not. Dedicated in memory of Avi Moiri, Reb Shmuel Baruch, Ben Reb Chaim Tzidoiv, Anonymous, Hatzlacha Baruch Nizu Begash V'Zluchus Achenu B'nei Yisrael. Anonymous, may our learning be a shield of protection and source of unity, blessing for Am Yisrael, Joel Gedalius, Lee Nishmas, my father, Jack Gedalius, multi-sponsors, TCS, Israel, powered by Talk and Save Anonymous, for Shleima Chul Delea, Bas Bracha, weekly sponsors, Yom and Zichrim, for Shleima Avrom and Elisha Pnino, Aaron Freeman, in honor of Rebelli, for continuing Tziyat Shmai, to spread Torah around the world, Coffee, Anonymous, in memory of Leah Bat Jamila, daily sponsors, David Shakovitsky, Lee Nishmas, Chaviyuta Bas, Rabbi Yosef Arya, Zichron Levracha, the Schus Zivug Hagon, the Kar of David Ben Miriam, Mordechai Weinberger, the Nishmas, my father, Rabbi Yisrael Ben Rabbi Yaakov Yosef, on his 13th yard side, Rabbi Steve Moss. Today is my birthday, and I dedicate the shir to all my loved ones and my wife Judy, Bobby Sperber, the Schus before Shleima, Habocher Menachem, Manes Ben Rivka Blima, and Mazel Tov to you, Rabbi Steve Moss. Shir, Koilol, MDY Kids, Anonymous, for Full Shleima, L'chol Choyli Am Yisrael, for the safe return of all the hostages, MDY Kids, Yoeli F, for my Zaidi Shinov Rebbe's second yard side. Lina Nishmas, Kvek Dishas, Avram Menachem Mendel, Ben Rebbe Alta Yaakov Yitzchok, MDY Art, monthly, Refuah Shlema for Yehonatan Eitan ben B'Shav Bracha. Somebody told me he's in the hospital today. I hope he comes out soon. Refuah Shlema Mordechai ben Esther. Refuah Sayeled Daniel Zeh ben Ayelet Esther. Rabbi, say here we go. Brand new parak. Brand new sugya. When it comes to Daf Yomi, by the way, you don't need a brand new parak. It's always a new sugya. It's always something new. But you guys are lucky. We're starting a brand new parak. There's a Avodah Zarah called the Markulus. I don't know if we have it here in America, but certainly in Europe, when I was in Austria about 2 weeks ago, it was all over the place. They had these two stones, and on top of the stone, there's a third stone. I have some pictures I could show you. This is, for instance, they found this thing. Here we go. The whispering, guys, I know that in yeshiva, whatever, but over here, this mic picks it all up, and a lot of people are listening, so we got to be super quiet. You could ask questions here and there, but the whispering between yourselves, please, plus I'm a little sensitive to it. This is Markulis. Maybe it's my son-in-law that's whispering. I have no idea. All right, so here's a video of some Markulis. It's two stones and one on top. Now, what we're going to be discussing is, obviously, that's an Avodah Zarah. But what about the stones on the bottom? You see the stones thrown next to it? Here, 3 stones right there, 2 stones right there. That's exactly what we're talking about. The stones that are sitting next to it, what halacha do they have? Oh, so I could show you this one. So this is Markulis. Basically, the way it works is you have these 2 stones and one on top. And one of my friends, we went with 2 friends to Austria, to the Alps. By the way, it's a little nicer than over here. I'm just saying, whatever. It's beautiful over here, but I haven't been to Zion. So I heard Zion is unbelievable. And those other places. I'll tell you the name later. But my friend took a rock. There's Avodah Zarah here. When they put a Avodah Zarah, he takes a rock and tries to knock it down. Is there a problem with that? Why?
Yeah, you're serving.
Huh?
You're serving.
Oh, that's how they worship Avodah Zarah. They throw a rock at the Markulis. That's why in this picture right over here, you see a bunch of rocks on the bottom. That's how it's done. So that's Markulis. So perhaps he wasn't doing the right thing in that case. And we're going to see. Stam, I have a riddle for you. You're in your house, and all of a sudden, you realize something, and you can't leave your house. You just cannot leave your house. Why not? What could be a reason why you can't leave your house? So there's a number of reasons. One of them is what we're going to be learning today. What if the floor on the sidewalk was made out of Markulis stones? You're not allowed to walk on it. You're not allowed to step on it. Another interesting halacha is, let's say you come out of your house, like there's a magefa of ants. You know, sometimes they just take over. So, and it's Shabbos, you're not allowed to walk out. You're allowed to step on an ant by mistake, or whatever, you're walking to shul. But if there's thousands of ants, you're not allowed to go. Let's say you're walking to shul, and you look down, and you see a bunch of ants in front of you. So you say, okay, you turn around, there's ants behind you. What do you do? Huh? You can't, they're everywhere. How far can you jump? 10 feet around, they're everywhere. What do you do? No, what do you do? What would you do?
Is it really awesome? It's a mice halifa.
It's misasik.
No,
It's a psik ratio.
No, you're not doing. You're just walking.
But you know, right now, just walking, you know you're going to kill. You're going to be mitzi nefesh.
You're just doing your regular mice.
I think it's awesome. Pretty sure it's awesome.
We'll find out.
Find out. Just don't ask Rabbi Berkowitz. Maybe you could ask. Find out. Let's say it's awesome. What do? I think you're stuck there. No, what you're saying is, obviously, when you're going to walk from here to shul, you're going to be killing an ant or 2 on the way. You don't know. But when you know, you see it, it's right in front of you, you're going to destroy their life. How can you do that? On purpose. Knowing that okay, stam, nothing to do with today's sugya. Says the Mishnah. Rabbi Shmuel Oimer, Shalish Avanim Zu B'tzad Zu. Zu B'tzad Zu B'tzad Markulis. Yeah? You have 3 stones, which is basically a Markulis is built out of 3 stones. Asuras, you know what's interesting? Think about it. Why do we put stones on a caver? Similar kind of thing that we put a stone on a caver. It's interesting, no? It's like this Avodah Zarah. But I think the reason is, first of all, like a covet to the mace to say, hey, we showed up. Look how many people came here. Also, I think it started before they had like matzevas, so they had like more of a mound. So to like protect the mound, to strengthen it, I think that's how it started. Ushtayim mutaris. So if you have 3 stones next to the markulas, it's asur. We're going to explain everything in the Gemara. 2 is mutter. There's an afkamir between 3 and 2, and the Gemara doesn't understand why. Why should there be a difference between 2 and 3? There's no difference in numbers. If you could tell that it's next to, it belongs to the markulas, then it's part of the markulas. It was worshipped to the markulas, then it's asur. If it's not close, then mutarois, then it's okay. Now, what happens, by the way? What happens to a stone that was worshipped as Avodah Zarah? You take the stone and you worship it. You make it like a carbon to the Avodah Zarah. So I'm going to tell you guys a chiddush. Did anybody here ever learn Avodah Zarah? Here's a tremendous chiddush that we learned before just Chazara. It's called Tekreves Avodah Zarah, and it has a tumah to it, like a mace. So if you have a stone like that in your house, the entire house is tameh, tumas oil, has tumas mace. So that's what I'm saying. You learn Daf Yomi, you learn another chiddush, another halacha, another thing. Today also you're going to learn a lot of halachas. Says the Gemara, people worship broken pieces. So let's say this was an Avodah Zarah, fell on the ground and broke into 100 pieces. Oh, which reminds me, why not? They say, one of the rayas, they say about, they ask about evolution, about the Big Bang, is if you take this cup and you hold it high up above the floor and it smashes on the floor, what are the chances that all the pieces will fall into a depiction of an elephant? 1 in a trillion. And then pick up all the pieces again and hold it above the floor and drop it again. And what are the chances that again it's gonna fall into that depiction? That's what they say. No, and everything in this world, Zion and Utah and all the mountains and all the rivers and the waterfalls and the sun and the moon and this and that, and everything just fell in. Our eyes, our ears, nose, hakol, eyebrows, everything. The brain. Okay. Anyway, Zok Gemara. They take the broken pieces and they worship those broken pieces. When you could see that these pieces came from the markulas, you can see these stones fell off the markulas. Asurais, that's why it's asur. Everything makes sense because you're worshiping broken pieces and it's next to it. It's okay, so it's asur. Not next to it, it's mutar. But what's the svar of Rabbi Shmuel? How are you mechalik between 3 and 2? Why is there an afkamina between 2 and 3? If you worship broken pieces, then even 2 pieces is something you should be concerned with. And if you don't worship broken pieces, so what's the difference between 2 and 3? So Rabbi Yochanan says, so he makes seder over here. When you know that these pieces originated from the markulas, of course everything is asur. It came from the markulas. And even according to the mandama that says you don't worship broken pieces, that's like let's say this was the Avodah Zarah and it fell. It's not normal for it to break into pieces. So nobody worships those broken pieces. But over here we're talking about broken stones. These are stones. Every stone is a broken stone. That's how you worship it, with these stones. It's not it was never one nice 3-piece Avodah Zarah. It all started with broken pieces to begin with. So that's normal to worship. So even if you hold that you don't worship broken pieces, in this case of Markulas, you will. We had the same story by par. You know what par is, right? It's Avodah Zarah. The people relieve themselves. They go to the bathroom in front of it. So the Gemara says, but you relieve yourself on a different, they're talking about a different Avodah Zarah. The Gemara says, no, but on a normal Avodah Zarah, nobody relieves themselves. That's mevazid the Avodah Zarah. But on a par, that's the urche, that's That's the norm. So here also, it's the norm to use the broken stones. Kipligi says Rabbi Yochanan b'stama. I don't know where it came from. I don't know. I didn't hear if it came from the Markulas or not. So like this, b'mekuravos, when it's close to the Markulas, we're going to have some pictures. I'm going to show you the Ikke Lemeiman Minei Nofal. So it makes sense, since it's really close, it makes sense that it came from the Markulas, the Rakala Suros. Everybody agrees that it's awesome. We're trying to understand, Rabbi Shmuel, why it makes an afghan between 2 and 3. We're getting there. Kipligi b'meruchakos. When these stones are distanced from the Markulas, then we have machlokes. So before we get to the answer, the Gemara jumps in. We said that it's next to Markulas. What are you talking about? Rachik. We're not talking about far from them. So the Gemara says, yeah, right. My bitzad arba amos today. Bitzad means within 4 amos. So 4 amos is a lot. How much is 4 amos? About 8 feet. So 8 feet is close and is far, but it's within the arba amos. It's called bitzad. Within. Everybody has daled amos, right? Every human being has a daled amos to him. So Markulas also has a daled amos. Rishmal Sovar, Oisi Markulas, Kotom, Bitzar Markulas, Gadol. Oh, there's such a thing as making a small Avodah Zarah next to a Markulas. In other words, a Markulas is 3, like this. Let me just show you this picture now. So this is Markulas. So if you have 3 stones, stam, not on top of each other like a Markulas. Says Rabbi Shmuel, this is the derech of people. Chacham argue. But Rabbi Shmuel says, no, people would take 3 stones and put it next to the giant Markulas. It's so chashiv, whatever it is, you can understand. People worship it. There's a thing. So they take 3 stones and put it next to it. But when you put 2 stones, that they don't do. Shalosh, the Dami Markulas Asuris. When you have 3 like this, it's also why? Because it's similar to the number of stones on a Markulas. Shtai imutaris, but 2 mutar. Rabbanan Savri, ein oisim Markulas kotem mitzad Markulas gadol. No, it's not true. Nobody makes a small miniature Avodah Zarah. Loish neshalish loish neshtaim. So Chacham never machal between 2 and 3. Nersimoy asurais, but when it's close by, here, let's go to Rabbanan for a second. When it's close to it, so even 1 is asur. When it's far away from it, even 2 is mutar. Okay, so now we see the nafkamina. So again, the Gemara's kasha was why 3? What's the difference 3 and 2 according to Rabbi Shmuel? The difference is because 3 represents a Markulas and it makes sense. People make a smaller one next to the large one, but it has to be 3 because that's the number that an original Markulas has. 2, people don't make a small Markulas out of 2. And maybe it's mutar. Amar Mar. So we just said, if it's obvious that these stones fell off the main Markulas, then it's also. Virimini, like 10 lines from the top of Nun Nomadal. Rimini, Avonim Shenosh Markulas. So the Gemara seems to be saying over here, what is an Avonim Shenosh? It seems like Bivad, like it's Pashat that it came off the Markulas, yeah? Avonim Shenoshru. I know that it fell off the Markulas. Nirasimoy Asurais. Oh, this is a big problem to Rabbi Yochanan. Because over here it says Mefurish that if you know for a fact that they fell off the Markulas, there's a way to make it mutar when it doesn't look like it's part of the Markulas. But you know that it came off the Markulas. Why should it be mutar? These stones were part of the Markulas, fell off, it's ein nirisimai mutaris. It's a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. So Rava answers on Rava Litema Shenashru. No, it doesn't mean that you know for a fact. Okay, that's how he gets out of it. Shenashru means I know for a fact that it fell off, and that's hard. That would be a good kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. No, doesn't mean Nashru means I found it. Okay. Another kasha. Sover Rabbi Shmuel Shtay Mutaros. Does Rabbi Shmuel really hold, like I showed you before, yeah? This. 2 is mutar. 3 asur, 2 mutar. How's it possible? Tfisa means, you know Hebrew. Tfisa means to catch, the tfos, yeah. So if it's within his reach, so to speak, if it's 2 within its reach, it's asur. But why are you telling me that Rishmal holds its mutar? 3 is asur. Okay. So we have a kasha here. On the one hand, we said Reb Shmuel says 2 is mutter, like in this picture. On the other hand, or this picture, I should show it to you. What is it? On the other hand, we say that 2 is also. Which one is it? What does that mean? Tfisa achas we know. Tfisa achas means there's nothing interfering with this Avodah Zarah. Between the markulas and these 2, there's nothing in there. 2 tfisa says Rashi. Check this out. Let me see if I can find it here. This we did already. Tfisa achas. So if you have 2 stones within the markulas, it's also. But check this out. What's 2 tfisas? You have to look carefully because it's going to happen quick. You saw that? No, you didn't see it. A little mound of dirt over there, yeah? Stam, this is l'saber so'anayim. The what? If you could tell that these stones didn't come off the markulas. Why? Because there's some sort of mound of dirt in between them. Stones don't fly. Stones don't jump. So how did the 2 stones get beyond that mound of dirt? Must be that they're not part of the markulas. That's shtei tfisa. Shtei tfisa means that there's something else in between, like a mound of dirt. Maybe this is not a great mound of dirt, because I know, so you're asking, maybe the dirt came afterwards. Okay, something that you know that was there at the same time as the other stones, and they couldn't get there from the markulas. They're there on their own. The Gemara says the Ika Guva Beinu Beinu. There's some sort of mound of dirt between the 2 stones in the markulas. Ask the Gemara, Markulas Kagavna Mihava, is there such a thing as a markulas that's not 2 stones and 1 on top, like a bunch of stones by themselves? How does it work? 1 on this side, 1 on this side, and on top, 1 on top. So that goes back here. If you look at this picture, the main markulas with the eyes over there, that's how it is. You have to have 2 and 1 on top. But when you have 3 stones, that's the junior. What's a good word for it? Sub markulas. Excellent. That's a great word. There's the main markulas, then the sub markulas. No, don't try to beat him. Sub is the best word here. Maskim. Secondary is also a good word. Fine. Says the Gemara. Okay, that's it. We're done with this sugya now. It's much easier now. But Yanim Malka Charov, the mansion, the castle of Yanai, the famous Yanai, was destroyed. Also, the Kechavim or Kimu Be Markulas. That's the way how a lot of things start. A guy dies, people start worshiping him afterwards. So we got to put a Markulas here. So they put a Markulas. Also, if the Kechavim Machrine, the Loipachal Markulas, a bunch of other Goyim came. They're idol worshippers. Of the Kechavim. But they don't do Markulas, they do something else. Shaklinu v'chipu bem drochim v'startois. What was that thing? There's a famous Goyish song. Either was it a song or trying to think what it is. We don't talk about these things in shir, the Goyish stuff. But it was a very, very, those who know. I'll just say it. Whoever knows, you probably know what it is. But the guy said, oh yeah, it was a comedy, I think. It was a comedy thing. That's what it was. This is not a song. The guy says, what religion are you? He says, I'm a Christian. Oh, I'm also Christian. So what type of Christian? He's evangelist. Oh, I'm also evangelist. Wow. He's getting excited. He says, but what type of evangelist? 7 days. Me too. But what type of 7 days? 7 days of this. Me too. And finally he gets to the point where he says, but what type of the what type of what type? And he says, you heretic, you Epicurus. That's saying we can relate to it. Like, you're Jewish, you're religious, Orthodox, but what type? From that yeshiva, I'm a ratzim over there, I'm a shkotzim, I'm a dervish affairs over there. Yeah. Anyway, so no, I'm saying these are oivdi kechavim. We don't do markulas, chas v'shalom. We're best mentioned. We do a different type. We're the other type of Avodah Zarah. Shaklinu v'chibu bem drochim v'sartois. They took these stones and they made from them pathways, highways, streets. It's that's why I go on all these trips. Happens to be like for 5 years I didn't go anywhere. I stayed put. I didn't go to a single restaurant. Nothing. I was so focused on the daf. But then the doctor told me that I'm not going to be around for much longer. So whatever. I did tshuva, but I did mamish tshuva to the tshuva hamishkol. So I go every 2 months on another whatever. So last year we went to Europe. We went to the Vilna Gaon, to the Chavetz Chaim. It was a Litvisha kind of. Well, we also went to some good rebbes and whatever. So we were by Reborch Ber, by his caver. I think we have a picture of it. Actually, I forgot to put in the other. Somebody sent me a real picture of that. So here we are. This is Reborch Ber's caver right here. You see Reborch Ber? Somebody found it. And I'm talking about 10 feet away from his caver is this area on the left. Here's his caver. There's a street. He's on the sidewalk, like by the street. You cross the street, and here's this thing. What is this? Tons of kvarim. You can see the writing in Hebrew on them, where they made streets from it. This is like the location where they grab these stones. They have free stones over here. You see what's going on here? All this, piles and piles of matzevis. Where the Yamach Shemoiniks over there in Poland, they take these and they pave the streets with it. It's geschmack stuff. It's free granite. Why not? So lahavdil $1 billion, they took these markulas stones and they made a street from it. So the Gemara, Ikir Rabban in the Parshi, Ikir Rabban in the Parshi. Some Chachamim said, you can't step on it. You can't have a no from a markulas. And some said it's not a problem. Omer Rabbi Yochanan, Benom Shel Kedoshim. You ever heard this lashon? Benom Shel Kedoshim. They use it for the Rebbe's sons. Benom Shel Kedoshim. So Benom Shel Kedoshim, Mahalach Aleim, V'anan Na'im. What are we betting from the sons of the Kodesh? He walks on it, and we're not going to walk on it. Manu Benom Shel Kedoshim. Who's this? We're not going to be Rabbi Simai. We had him in Shabbos. If anybody learned Shabbos, same idea. Mamai Korle Benom Shel Kedoshim. Why do they call him that? When he has a coin, on the coin there's a depiction of a person. He doesn't look at that. Why? Because he's Avodah Zarah. I'm going to look at this. Chas v'shalom. There's the Indian not to look at Rishayim. So, I think what the Gemara is trying to say here is that even though it's mutter to look at the coin, we're passing that's okay. He was makbid on the Avodah Zarah not to look at the Avodah Zarah in the coin. Yet, in the same concept, in the same halacha of Avodah Zarah, he walked on this Avodah Zarah. So he who so makbid not to look at a coin walked on the street that was made out of markulas. So you don't be better than him. Okay. Stamazai, what's this idea of not looking at Rishayim? It has a certain effect on you. To look at a Rasha, to look at him on the news, to look at him in a newspaper, but they talk about it. So you're allowed to look at a newspaper that has Ahmadinejad. I don't know what's the guy's name from Iran. Khomeini. Look at Khomeini. Rasha, he wants to be Oiker Yisrael, right? Rasha Marusha. He killed the Yidden. You're allowed to look at his face? Is there in you not to look at his face? So, little I saw, I'm not passing or anything. It's not such a big deal. And basically, first of all, it's not a halacha. This what the Gemara is saying, it's a midas chachamim. Sometimes the Gemara says like it's a tova sort of thing. It's a better idea not to look at him. It's not. You're not over on anything if you do. Secondly, there's a difference between staring, like having him up on your wall, or looking at him for a prolonged time, and just like seeing him in the news kind of thing. See him in the newspaper. Okay, that's also another heter. My time at the man departs. So what's the idea not to walk on this Markulas street? Say in the name of Rav. How do you know? Let me ask you guys. This is Gevali. I love asking Shiva Baruch this question. You here? You ready? If you know the answer, raise your hand. Don't answer. If you know, don't answer. But you don't know, raise your hand. No, I'm just kidding. Raise your hand if you know the answer. What is the problem to punch your friend? You get mad at him, give him a gezunta punch. Is it a derabanan, a deraisa? What einish do you get? If it's a deraisa, you're going to say it's a deraisa. What einish? You get this, you get, what happens? Anybody know? Not you, because you learned 2 hours after Tisha B'Av. What do you guys say? No? What do you say? Very good. What do you say? Excellent. Nu? This guy's a Talmid Chachamim. What do you say? Is it Aser? Huh? It's Aser? Very good. You know that most people don't know this? Bemis. They don't know. A lot of people think that they're Rabbanon. You think a high school kid knows that it's Issa de Rais at the hit, and if you hit, you get Malchus? They think it's cool to fight. No? I asked many people, they don't know. How about this one? Because I'm going to ask you. What does Tmura mean? Switch what?
What's it referring to?
Yeah. Okay, you don't answer. I'm going to ask somebody else now. I see he knows. You're nervous. I'm not going to ask you. You know what it means? Tmura. No idea. Don't tell me everybody knows now. You know Tmura? No, what does it mean? What? How many mitzvahs did the guy get for doing that? Okay, bunch of Talmid Chachamim. Okay, I don't like you guys. Next. Givaldi, yeah, no, Bemis. Kol Kavod. They knows their stuff. Givaldi. Okay, so says Gemara, I'm not going to ask you the real questions. Those are the warm-ups. Oh, so what's the isser to go on this sidewalk made, or the street made out of Markulis? Says Rabbi, at the Kroivis, this is Avodah Zarah. You hear what's going on here? Unbelievable. You have an Avodah Zarah, you have a getchka, you have a doll that's an Avodah Zarah. That you can be mevatel. Who could be mevatel it? Only a guy. A Jew can never be mevatel Avodah Zarah, ever. If it's the Jews, it's stuck. But a guy can be mevatel his Avodah Zarah. But to Kroivis Avodah Zarah, to take something and give it to the Avodah Zarah, that has no bittul forever. It has halacha like a mace. Just like a dead person. And we spoke about it before. It has tumas oil, tumas mace, a very severe tuma, the worst of the worst. After Avodah Zarah in Tekroivis is like a dead person and has no bittul whatsoever. And the person who walks on the street, like Rabbi Yochanan saying it's not a problem to walk on the street. It has to be like a carbon in the Beis Hamikdash. What do you bring in the Beis Hamikdash? You bring an animal, you bring flour, oil, wine, things that you bring in the Beis Hamikdash. But nobody brings stones to the Beis Hamikdash. So Mela, the Isser of Tekroivis doesn't apply to stones. By the way, if anybody needs to leave, I'm not makpid, you get up and go. It's mamish not a problem. So he brought a brisa that that's our story, that a guy comes and brings stones from the Markulis, and he paved a street with it, Amud Beis, mutarois. It's 100% mutar. Yisrael she'evi avonim and Markulis, v'chipa b'hem drachim v'sarteois asuras. But a Jew that does it, it's asur. There's not a nagar, not a son of a nagar, that could answer the firkinas, that could explain what's going on here. Why is it that a Jew, it's mutter, and also and for a guy it's mutter? Why should it be mutter for the guy? Now we know the answer because we just read it. I'm not a nagar, I'm not a son of a nagar. And I know how to answer this. My kushile, what's the kasha? The Rav Gidel, it goes according to Rav Gidel. Be'ino came pnim beleko. There's no isser on a stone. Because stones are not brought to the Beis Hamikdash. And it's not considered the Krevis Avodah Zarah. You want the Krevis Avodah Zarah, it needs to be a sheep that you shecht in front of a getchka. That becomes a Krevis Avodah Zarah. Because a sheep is something you bring to the Beis Hamikdash. But not a stone. Givaldik. I just have to do this, sorry. Turning of the Daf is sponsored by Adar Global. MDY is enjoying the benefit of Meisters of Adar's MDY clients. Anonymous. Yachad Gilo Basi Tamar Ephraim, Chaim Yitzchok ben Shmuel Avigdor, Anonymous is Schus Vatzloch and Ruchnis and Gashmias. Rav Yosef bar Abba. Ikla Rabbi bar Yirmi Lasrin. So now, very similar to what we just said, that we had a little bit of a kasha, and nobody can answer it. So now the Gemara says, I have a kasha, we have a kasha, and nobody can answer it. And this is going to go to the bottom of the Amud. That's where we're going to finish off today. Like six, 7 lines from the bottom. That's where we're getting to. But it's interesting, very interesting stuff. He came to our place. He came and he brought a bride. The same thing like we had before. Now what? Matlin u'mezahamin b'shvis. This, by the way, if you came just for this, I'm going to tell you something that the Olam is not so into. But I think the Olam should be a little bit more makbid on it, based on this Gemara. We'll talk about it in a second. Chalamayid. What does Chalamayid mean to you? Most people, Chalamayid means there's a Yantif 2 days in America, at the end is 2 days, and in between it's what? Chalamayid. Meaning, you go to the amusement park, we used to go to Great Adventure. They do special, for Yidden on Sukkot. You don't know about it? They don't do it anymore. They still do. You get the Pepsi, the Coke, and you can get $25 off. They still have that? It was only when I was a bacher, no? Okay. That's Chalamayid. Chalamayid is the time you go with the mishpacha, you go on trips, geschmack, the whole thing. Avada, shop, because Dava Avad, it's pasha from all the sugis when you learn whatever in the beginning of Shas, and here today also. Chalamayid is Yantif. It's 100% Yantif, like the first day of Yantif. Meaning there's an Isser Melacha. You're not allowed to do. You have to treat it with the utmost respect. You have to wear Big Day Shabbos. You can't just go in your Crocs and your flip flops and this and that. It's Yantif. You look at me like I'm crazy. I'm telling you, Chiddush here. Just what? There's certain things that you're allowed to do for tzarech and this, but you're not allowed to be matriach. You're not allowed to. So, just today I saw it, because I keep on talking about it, and a lot of people, Baruch Hashem, they wrote to me, I closed down my business. This is the first time in my life I closed down my business in Chalamayid, and I didn't realize, and I don't go to work in Chalamayid. Person, it became a thing. If you're part of MDY, you know what I'm talking about. He was smiling, right? I talk about it all the time. Stop. One thing that people, I think, are not, they don't chap. It's not that they're not making. They think that it's weekday, that the Yontif is here and there, and in between it's just weekday. So no, it's not weekday. Listen to this. The Chulei Shani says you shouldn't tear toilet paper. That's what he says. You should prepare the toilet paper. I'm just azoy vait. You know what I'm saying? Like it just opens your eyes. So another sefer says if you light a cigarette, don't put it out. You should put it on the side, let it burn out. Yeah, on Chalamayid. I'm sure everybody knows you're not supposed to write on Chalamayid. You're not supposed to b'shinui. Yeah. I've been in a hotel for Pesach for many, many years, almost 30 years. Same, it's a family hotel, and our mishpacha goes to the same hotel. It's just a family program, and it's unbelievable. People are like, what do you mean? There's a sale. I have to shop. I have to this. Like they always have an excuse why it's davar ovid, but you have to know the halachas. You have to realize that it's a little bit more than what you think. So now that you know that, is that a chiddush to anybody here that I said? If I said any chiddushim, raise your hand. Not even one chiddush. That's a chiddush. The toilet paper, but it brings it down. It brings it down. No, you know about the Big Day Shabbos? Tied, yeah. I know. But what I'm saying, when you go on that trip, then you shouldn't wear Big Day Shabbos. Fine. No, I met a guy in Nebuch. He was in a coma. I'll tell it to you guys because you're going on a trip. It's not a joke. A guy just died yesterday, 2 days ago in Eretz Yisrael on a tiyul, and another guy is in serious condition. And in Boca, 4 Ger Hasidim came to the shir. They do this. The guy was in a wheelchair. He was a yeshiva bacher on a trip, on one of these tiyulim like you guys are doing, and he just coma for a month. Just I don't know what happened over there. I'm not saying him, but I know of stories that people go with their Shabbos shoes on hikes. They don't take enough water, so you got to be careful. Just the simple things. Just be careful. Rabbi said, "Be careful." It's not a joke. I was also a bacher and did a lot of stupid things. I'm here to talk about it, but it's not kedai. Every ben zman of this another. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, in the mountains, the way that we drive, I've been there. I'm not going to give mussar because I got pulled over twice and one Matzah Shabbos in the mountains, but I was only 15 then. Of course, I didn't have a license. You guys know what I'm talking about. Just bring water, a lot of water, especially up here at the altitude. You don't, you guys have headaches and stuff. Drink and drink. You have to drink a lot of water. Oh, not from the bottle though. Zog the Gemara. Yeah, so we're here. What happened? He had a bomb kasha. And the Gemara is going to take the Kedarka B'Kodesh of the Gemara. We're going to go through all the steps to figure out what the question is, and at the end, we're going to know what the question is. First 3 tries, we're going to fail. What did he bring? Matlin u'mezamin b'shvius. Matlin means, okay, Shemitah. You all know you're not allowed to do melacha on Shemitah. Now, there's only 4 melachas you're not allowed to do midiraisa. The rest, all different things, are the rabbanans. Now, one of them is, perhaps, we're talking now about, are you allowed to remove worms from a tree on Shemitah? So it says yes. You're allowed to take worms out of a tree. I have a picture here, how it would look, taking out worms from a tree. Boom. Smoke them out of there. All right, so that's matlin. What else do we have? We have zium, mizamim. What is it called? Mizamin. So that's basically to take manure. It's like a Band-Aid. A tree has a boo-boo. You cut a branch off a tree. Now it's bleeding, whatever it is. It's not doing well. So you have to they take a bunch of manure, they put it on top of it, a Band-Aid. We'll call it a Band-Aid. B'shvius, you're allowed to do it on Shemitah. But to do something like that, to take the worms out on Chalamoid, Aser. You guys said you all knew this halacha, no chidushim here. Matlin u'mezamim b'moed. Kan v'kan, megazmin. You're not allowed to prune. So, I want to put the better pruning in there, but okay, this is what we have. Prune. Basically, what happens when you prune a tree, the other one was better, the one I showed yesterday. You prune a tree, you cut a branch, and 2 branches grow out from the top. That's what happens. Because it actually produces more. It makes it more. So that you can't do. Kan v'kan, on Shemitah and Chalamoid, megazmin, you don't prune a tree. V'sachin shemen legazim, but if you do have a branch that's cut, you put a little oil on it, make it feel good. Baby moed b'mishvis, that you could do on Chalamoid and on Shemitah. Nobody can answer this question. What is the question? So now we're going to have 4 tries, and the fourth one is what we're going to go with. I'm not a nagar, not a bar nagar, I can answer it. Michael Kasha, what's the question? Perhaps there's a contradiction, a kasha between Chalamoid and Shemitah. Why is it that you're allowed to take worms out on Shemitah, but you can't do it on Chalamoid? I understand. If you could do it on Shemitah, why can't you do it on Chalamoid? So he says, Michael Kashley, sorry. Midami. Shvi is melacha sarachmana. On Shemitah, the Isser is to do melacha in the ground, to do melacha with agriculture melacha. It's not a problem with you doing melacha. You're allowed to take a tractor and walk around in circles 100 times on Shemitah. There's no Isser on you. The Isser is in the ground. Tirchashari, you're allowed to work hard. Moed, afilu tirchanami aser. But on Chal Moed, the Isser is on you. You shouldn't be doing melacha. By the way, the Mishnah Berurah says that when we say that you're allowed to do a melacha on Chal Moed that doesn't have tircha, it's only l'tzoyrech that day. Here, another chiddush. Again, when you're allowed to do melacha that doesn't have a tircha, no tircha. Let's say driving a car, I don't know what. It's l'tzoyrech that day, not l'tzoyrech tomorrow, after Yantiv. Okay? So says the Gemara. Okay, so that's not a good kasha. So what is the kasha? Velo ziyum agizum. Ziyum agizum. Kasha like. Maishne ziyum the shari. Why are you allowed to? You're permitted on Shemitah to put a band-aid on a tree. Maishne gizum also, but you're not allowed to prune a tree on Shemitah. No, what's the answer? What's the lumus over here? You're not allowed to put. You're allowed to put a band-aid on a tree on Shemitah, but you're not allowed to prune a tree on Shemitah. What's the svara? Simple svara. Midami. When you put a band-aid on, you're not making the tree better. You're just making the tree not become worse. You don't want the tree to get an infection or whatever it's going to get. Gizum, but when you prune a tree, you're making it better. You're being mashbiach the tree. Okay, not a good kasha. Okay, I have a kasha on the band-aid. Because it says by us, you let it put a band-aid on Shemitah. Oh, this is referring to the 6th year. There's certain things that melachas you're not allowed to do on the 6th year of Shemitah, not Shemitah itself the year before, Erev Shemitah. So it says, you let put the band-aids on. Because when? You hear what's going on here? On the 6th year, you're allowed to put a band-aid. Mashma, that on the 7th year, you're not allowed to. So that's the Gemara's kasha. But first, let's get to it. You're allowed to wrap it. You know, let's say in the winter, it gets a little cold, so look what you do. You do something like this. Tree is a shtickle cold, so you give it a shtickle coat. That's the karchen. The next one is, mama's like in yeshiva. This is Rameir Stern used to show us. The kait min you put a little lash on it. Voisin and batim. So batim is this. The Rashi says that you put a fence and then you fill it in with dirt, something like this. You let to water it until Rosh Hashanah. So the Gemara says, "Ad Rosh Hashanah in." All these halachas are you allowed to put a band-aid on until Rosh Hashanah. You're not allowed to put a band-aid on if you medayik. You can't put a band-aid on Shemitah, but we just said you could put a band-aid on Shemitah. So the Gemara, this goes according to Rav Guvar. There's two types of using. In English, it's a hoe or a shovel. One strengthens the tree, and that's aser. The chad is a tume pile v'shari, and one is just to sustain it. So here we have a shtickle. You got okay. The top left corner is like a hatzala guy. Okay, so he's just making sure that the tree doesn't die. So that would be. I don't know how many times to click it. I'm scared to click. That would be mutter. The next one is muscle man. It's to make this tree stronger. That's also. Okay, that's the svara that we said before. Anything that prevents the tree from dying, mutter. To make the tree stronger is also. So maybe if I take that svara, I'm going to do the same thing. Band-aid, that it shouldn't die. That's all a guy, mutter. Band-aid, to make it stronger. That's also givaldi. Nothing wrong with laughing a little bit during learning, okay? Oh, see what's going on here? Just like you said about kishkushe. There's two types of kishkushe. There's two band-aids. One is just to make the tree shouldn't die. And one is to make it stronger. To make it stronger is also. Perhaps we're going to ask a kasha on the oil. Maybe this is the fourth one, so maybe it's 5. I'm not holding cup anymore. So 2, we have a stira in oil. One says, you have a pruned branch, you put some oil on it. That's what we learned. You let to do it on Chalamoid and on Shemitah. Very meaning, but we have a kasha. Similar Allah. Now what? You have these figs. So you let to put oil in them. I looked it up. At the Yom they use oil. I forgot what it's called, some fancy word, olification or something. You take oil, you put it on a fig, and that makes it ripen quicker. Umenakvin, you poke a hole in the fig, and umefatmin, you fill it with oil. Ad Rosh Hashanah, you light this up to Rosh Hashanah. Ad Rosh Hashanah in the same svar that we had before, same kasha we had before, same diuk. It seems like you could only do it on the 6th year. B'shviyas law, you can't do such a thing on Shemitah. So if you can't do it to a fig, l'chayri, you can't do it to a tree. You shouldn't be able to put oil on a tree. Says Gemara, what do you bring me a ride from a fig to a tree? Over here we're trying just to make sure that the tree doesn't die. And that we said is mutter. Hasam, but by a fig, you try to make the fig more valuable, better. Better, we always said is asur. Finally, here we are. Here's the question that nobody has an answer to. Why is it that you're allowed to put oil on chalamoyed? That's mutter. Aziyum, but when it comes to the band-aid on chalamoyed, that's also. You're not allowed to put a band-aid on chalamoyed. Both of them, the oil and the band-aid, they're there to do what? To make sure that the tree doesn't die. So what's the nafkamina? Why is one also one in mutter? Band-aid is asur, oil is mutter. Why? They're both there that the tree shouldn't die. Why is oil mutter and band-aid asur? Nobody can answer this question. Rabboisai, have a wonderful day. Yishkoch for coming, everybody. Ma'am, it's a tremendous chos. You should have a lot of hana during Ben Azmanim, and also learn a little Torah on the way. Yishkoyach.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.